Okay, so here we have a situation where the American Trucking Association anticipates a shortage of truck drivers in coming years. Also, the number of trained boxcars is also expected to fall by over 40%, and lumber and paper producers that depend on boxcars for their shipments fear that they will have to depend more on trucks for transportation, which will cost as much as 20% more than shipping by rail. So is the reduction in the number of trucks and boxcars likely to affect the short-run aggregate supply curve? And is it also likely to affect the long-run aggregate supply curve? This is what we're tasked to figure out, and it might be helpful to summarize all this information really quickly. So we have an issue here where the number of trained boxcars is expected to fall by over 20%, and the number of truck drivers is also falling. Similarly, lumber and paper suppliers that depend on these boxcars for their shipments now have to depend on trucks for transportation. This will cost them more. So we want to know who these reductions will affect in the short and long run. Well, firstly, we have a supply shock resulting from an increase in the cost of labor, since truck drivers shortages have made their employment more expensive. So this will result in a leftward shift in the short run aggregate supply curve as shown over here, and to a new point right here. The long-run aggregate supply curve may have stayed at LRAS1 over here if it wasn't for the fact that the suppliers can no longer use the same number of boxcars as they did previously and have to shift production to trucks. Thus, there's an evident decrease in the quantity of capital goods, which will result the long-run aggregate supply curve to also shift to the left, as so, from this point to this point, resulting in a new equilibrium at the same point over here. So altogether, prices have increased from this point over here, which you could say is P1, to this point over here, which is P2. At the same time, quantities have fallen from this point over here, or real GDP has fallen from this point over here, all the way down at this point over here.